Good evening, everyone. Under DBMS, this is one of the most critical and interesting, first of all, and background is critical. That's a different issue. One of the most important subject in engineering as well as everywhere today. Under which we are talking about RDBMS, that is based on relational factors. The background is little large, so we are not going in details. Today we are talking about most important details, which is referential integrity. Referential integrity is a key point of RDBMS, where your data is secured, consistent, and balanced based on reference. Means I am referencing someone, and someone else is referencing me. So based on that, we are authenticated to each other. In that concept, data we are keeping inside the DBMS with the reference. So here, primary key indicates how we can identify each and every individual record in the table. That's very easy to understand. But what about foreign key? And if what about foreign key we have across the tables, where one table asking for other table and the same table asking for the first one. So it is a cyclic matter. It is called cross reference. Over the foreign key, it is a cross reference, and that can be solved using alter table. We will discuss in details in the class in details, where with the example is already there, but how to solve in details code, it is not explained here. That I will explain in the class, but here just a example I can see. We can say that employee is taking a reference of which department the employee has joined from the department table. So here DPT ID, that column of this table, is primary key, and employee, all employees are unique, so employees IDs are unique. But what if this employee is joined in which department? Where from we can get the reference of the entire details? That should not be beside the details of the employee, because it is not the personal details of employee. So we are taking the reference from here. So it is linked up to the employee. As we can see that this mark line is coming down to indicate D01 is that is sales department, where E01 John have joined. Now, in this way, we have all the department and respective employees are connected. If you see the image properly, you can link the arrow, it will be solved. Now, the problem is that every department should have manager. So, if the employee, for example, we are trying to create the department. At that point of time, we have to put all the data. This data is having a reference of that table. So, which table should be creating first? That is the anomaly and ambiguity in RDBMS, which is coming out of cross reference. So there is a trick of solving. The trick I will unveil in the next class, in the next details. Goodbye. Hello students. Today again, first of all, myself Siddharth Bose. I am from Kaushal, and today I am going to continue the extended part of the last reference of the video. I think that will be added in this video in the very first section. Here today I am going to show you the details how the referred problem, that is cross reference problem. Cross reference is a problem, means it is not unsolved problem, but it is a kind of anomaly at the initial stage that we can solve using some trick and using some tools. First of all, to understand cross reference, we can only, if we see this data, it is, I think, very easy to understand what is happening in cross reference. Here we can see EMPL is a table, and there we have 4 fields. I have taken a very easy example so that you can understand. Employee ID, employee name, salary, and department ID. Department ID indicating employee where or in which department they are working. And in department table, parallelly, if you see, we have department ID. Here department ID is what and employee ID is what of both the tables. The leftmost column, according to the rule, they are primary keys. As if you can see in the bracket, department ID is written, that is the department ID primary key of the department table, and EID is the primary key of employee table. We know, according to DBMS, primary key is that particular information or kind of technique where we can keep the data of a single table unique. Unique in terms of row. Every row should be unique. That is a criteria or constant. In the constraint class, I will explain all the constraints separately. There I can explain in more details and more perfectly. Here, those who know primary key, I think it will be easy for them to understand. Primary key help us to create a table with one of the columns selected as a particular field where we can maintain or keep only unique data. Duplicated data are not allowed, right? So here we have such kind of field in these 2 tables. Now, where the problem is starting from? The problem is starting from we need to create the foreign key for reference purpose. What is the scenario we need to create the foreign key? Suppose employee is going to join or work in a company. So they need to be appointed in a certain department. So here department table is accordingly created. Now when employee data will be entered in the table, they need the department ID as a reference. So where from they will get the reference? From other table. So one table data having or asking for a reference from another table is called foreign key. Not by definition, that is by arrangement or link or criteria, you can say. Foreign key means always it's a connection between one table to other table considering the field. Now if you see the foreign key, again it is written in DPT ID table, which one is the foreign key? Manager ID. Now in employee table, which one is the foreign key? It is DPT ID. You can see employee in EMPL, it is DPT ID. Now the problem is that one table is asking for the reference from another table, and the same table is again asking back reference, again asking back for reference from the very first table. That is T1, you can see asking a reference from T2, or T2 again asking from T1. So if this happens in the same way, it is creating a circular form, and that is the anomaly we cannot create. We cannot build that setup at the same time we are creating the table. Okay? So how to solve this problem? That is the topic, today's topic. This situation is required. ये जो सिचुएशन है क्रॉस रेफरेंस वाला, ये एक टेबल दूसरे टेबल से हेल्प ले रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ कंसिस्टेंसी और सम डेटाबेस प्रॉपर्टीज. डेटाबेस RDBMS wise some properties are there. You have to maintain some standard properties to make your database consistent and balanced. One of the properties is primary key, that is connected with entity integrity. This term I am explaining, I am not explaining, I am just mentioning because I have to explain in a different video. In this video it is not possible. So entity integrity makes a table standalone, unique and standardized where data are unique, and foreign key is another standard that basically helps to we use to take helps from the concept of DBMS, that one data if asking from other table data just for reference purpose or validation purpose, this is the foreign key. So in this situation of cross reference, we can see that same time T1 asking from T2 and T2 asking from T1 back, it is not possible to create at the same time. Okay? Pause करते हो. Okay friends, so I have come up with the solution. It's a part of the solution, not the the complete solution. We may continue in the next video to complete the whole solution. So initial level, I showed you how to create the tables with a reference. So first, if you see the create table department command, that is the command of statement in RDBMS, where you have to create the table in this way. So T1, why I marked, I will tell you later, but here though it is written as the second table but marked as T1. Why? If we don't create any table department data, department data means I am talking about table department and the data in that table. So if we don't have any record in department or DBT table, then it will be difficult for us to enter employee data. Why? Because employee data is dependent on department ID or department table for department ID, because when an employee is going to enter in the table, so in which department he or she has entered, that record is important. Now in employee, it is very unusual to directly mention for the first time the name of the department, because department is another category of information for any organization. Means organization need to have a proper structure key, we have this many departments. So that is the reason we are keeping the department details in a separate table, and that is the reason, as by nature department having a greater priority than employee, means before taking or recruiting employees, the company or organization need to choose the name of the department first. We are creating department as first table in the sequence, because in the sequence of table creation, it is very important which should be created first and which should be created next. And that is the reason of anomaly here in the cross reference, because here we can see department is the first priority, so we are creating first. If we see that table 1 DPT ID is providing a support to table 2 EMPL here, but if we reverse the scenario, then it is very difficult to choose which one should create first, and that is the problem regarding cross reference. So we are choosing the first table as T1. Now how to solve the cross reference problem, I will explain later. So here, as a part of table creation, create table name is the syntax, then bracket, then one by one field name, their data types and constraint. Now other than not null, only primary key I am explaining, because primary key is very important to keep the record uniquely, that I already told you. So in a separate class I will cover all the constraint details. Here only primary key I am saying, and after this table is done with the closing bracket compared to the first bracket and semicolon. Now we are creating the second table, where we are creating employee. According to the fields mentioned over there, we are creating all the fields. Now look at the difference. See, primary key obviously required by every table. Here every employee is unique to the company, so they have a employee ID. Parallelly, to make it unique, we are creating primary key constraint. We are using means apply. Now see that field having a lot of details, only to create a reference to the first table. Why? DPT ID, in which table we are creating employee. So DPT ID means department ID. Now the data type. After data type, we are starting with the details. These details belongs to that particular topic. It is foreign key. How to create foreign key? This is one of the way of creating foreign key, because we can create foreign key in two different ways. One is the column level. That means here we are using that column level. We are mentioning the details how to create a foreign key. Parallel to the field we are creating, means field details is there. Continuing with the field details, if we are mentioning the foreign key details, it is called column level. And another process is table level, which code is not there, so I am not explaining, but remember there are two. I will come back to foreign key details, then I will show you how to create foreign key in two ways. And more details about foreign key, lot of doubts and questions will come in your mind that I will solve. So here, according to the purpose, we are creating our foreign key, means here I need to link DPT ID with the DPT ID of the first table, because that is the source table where every department is uniquely created only once. So one department may contain multiple employees. So every time a new employee is added to EMPL, it should get a reference from the DPT ID. That is why this DPT ID of EMPL asking for a foreign key. Now how to create foreign key? These are the keywords, references. Now after references, where from I am trying to create the reference? This table. What is the name of the table? DPT. Which column I need the reference as? DPT ID primary key, that one. So I am writing table name and the field name as DPT ID. Then on delete cascade and on update cascade, we are writing just giving a space but continuous manner. That is the rule of MySQL specifically. You should know that this way we can create the table in MySQL, and some part also belongs to Oracle too, right? So the most of the different part I am saying, this part or this is the way of creating foreign key in MySQL only. In Oracle it is little bit different. I will also explain this in a next class. So in this way we have created the foreign key. Now the problem is that how to solve the cross reference. That I will show in the continued video by showing the next level of the code. There we need to use this particular technique, alter table. So alter table will solve this cross reference, because at the same time I cannot use that reference parallel to each other, because it will create the error.